this video I'm going to show you how to calculate the perimeter of a sector. So the first thing we need to understand is what a sector is. A sector is part of a whole circle where it comes out from the centre. So it could look like a slice of pizza, for example. So I'm just going to draw a sector and just draw a circle. I know it's not exact, but there's a circle around it now. The sector that we're dealing with has what we call an arc length. Okay, when we deal with the circumference of a circle, we're talking about the whole way round. But if we just focus in on this sector, we want this part of the circumference here, which we're going to call the arc length. So from here to here, we're calling this our arc length. Now, as I said, a sector is part of a whole circle. So what we're going to look at is the angle within, or the angle of the sector. I'm going to call this theta. Now, a whole circle has 360 degrees. So the fraction of the whole circumference that I want is theta out of 360, right? Of the whole circumference of the circle. So there's a couple of formulas we use for the circumference of a circle. We can use pi times the diameter, or we can use 2 pi r. So we'll write them both down, but either way, the arc length itself, so let's talk about the arc length, because that's what we're trying to find, is part of the circumference. It's theta over 360 lots of the circumference of a full circle with the same radius. Like I said, we could also write it in terms of its diameter. We want this fraction of the full circumference of a circle with a diameter. And that will give us the arc length. But what happens if we want the perimeter of the whole sector? Well, if we want the perimeter of the whole sector, then we'll need to know what length the radius is. Radii, because there's two involved with the sector, we have this side and this side. And we'd have to add that to the arc length, meaning that we had the whole length all the way around the sector. So let's just have a look at an example. Let's go with let's look at a minor sector first. A minor sector is where the angle inside is small or an acute angle. And we can also have a major sector with a reflex angle. Okay, so let's do one where I've got an angle of, 60 degrees. So 60 degrees, and we'll have a radius of 4 meters. So I'm going to work out the perimeter of this sector. So because I have the radius, I'm going to use this formula here. So I always write the formula out first, but in order to get the perimeter, I need its arc length. So I need to work out this length first. So I'm going to do that first. So arc, let's just write arc equals. So the formula is theta over 360 multiplied by 2 pi r. So let's substitute in. We're dealing with 60 degrees, 60 over 360. Now this can cancel down. We'll do that in a minute. Multiplied by 2 pi multiplied by 4. Okay, so let's all simplify this. This here becomes 1/6. Okay, so this simplifies, both go into 60. On the top I've got 8 pi. So I have 8 pi over 6 currently. Okay, now that is the arc length, and I'm in meters, and it's a length. Now, approximately as a decimal, I have to work all this out on the calculator. So I've got, let me just work this out. I'll find the pi button, and I get, oh, hang on a sec. That's not its most simplified, is it? So I'm working it out as a decimal. I'm realizing that that can also cancel down to 4 over 3 pi as its most simplest form, meters, but that's approximately equal to 4.19 meters. Correct to 2 decimal places. All right, so finishing this off for the perimeter of this sector, I now need to take the arc length and add the radii to it. So 4 plus 4 plus the arc length will give me the full perimeter. So 4 plus 4 plus 4.19 gives me 12.19 meters for the perimeter of our sector. All right, and that's everything you need to know about how you calculate the arc length in order to then go on and work out the perimeter of a sector.